sitting in Mommy's chair. You silly girl. Whoa. So, I know it's been a couple days since I did a video. Part of the reason is because I had been waiting to hear from the doctor and about having another neurologist appointment, and it took them forever to get back to me for some reason. Apparently the neurologists have been really, really busy. They are booked up through the end of August, but they ended up having a cancellation, so they were able to get me in for tomorrow, where they're going to go over the results from my last MRI with me, and I guess we're going to decide how to proceed from there. They're probably going to want to do more MRIs, I expect. So anyways, so that's one of the reasons why I haven't done a video in a little bit. I did have a little bit of footage of me attending to the wheelchair that my friend brought me. So I have my own wheelchair now. She prefers to use a cane, so she was like, you know what, you can just keep it. So that's pretty cool. I don't have to go out and buy one. My walker should be here on Thursday. Fortunately, I haven't needed either in the last couple days. So today was a pretty good day. I did have some time, like a period where I was pretty tired, but I laid down and felt okay. So, but anyway, I know I haven't talked much about dog stuff in my latest videos. It's mainly because I'm waiting. We're planning to go evaluate some dogs this week, but primarily I'm kind of waiting to see what the latest MRIs are going to say, because my medical needs are drastically changing right now. It is going to change the things I'm going to need to look for in a dog. For example, with, and we talked about it briefly before, with an autism dog, you need them to be very chill. However, my mobility needs are changing. I may need them to do alert type things. So I'm kind of just waiting to see where we're going to be, not just with my condition, but with, you know, the treatments and things that they are going to recommend before we really start looking for dogs in depth again, because it can drastically change what I need to look for. So that's why you haven't seen many updates from that perspective yet. But we are not by any means halting our search for a dog. We're just kind of waiting to see what the new, what the neurologist is going to say. We did decide that the mobility needs that I have on my bad days are going to far exceed what a dog is going to be able to handle, which is why we looked into the mobility aids. On my bad days, I have trouble just getting around the house by myself. So on really bad days, I can't even brush my own hair, you know, so that's why the walker and the wheelchair were originally recommended for me, because my body is so just spent on those days that I would be putting too much weight and pressure on the dog to use them as my primary means of mobility aid. So, but I will still probably need them at least lightly trained in mobility, at least bracing, helping me get up off the floor, things like that. but I will primarily be using the walker at home on days like that. And then I will probably use the wheelchair out in public on bad days. So, there's that, I guess. I have my neurologist appointment tomorrow. I think I said that already. I'll be honest, I'm kind of nervous about it. I wasn't nervous about my MRI, but I'm kind of nervous about this one, and it's taken me a little while to figure out why I'm nervous about the consultation versus the actual MRI, which I had never had done before. It was extremely disorienting. And I think it's because I'm almost afraid that I'm going to get in there and they're going to be like, well, you do have this rare brain malformation, but that's not what's causing your symptoms. Like, I'm afraid it's going to be something else. And that's one of the reasons why they are not just doing so many tests for the Chiari malformation, but they are doing tests to make sure there's not something else going on along with it. Think of it kind of like autism. Autism almost never appears by itself. It's almost always accompanied by comorbid conditions, whether that be learning disabilities or ADHD or, any number of things. So I'm kind of afraid it's just going to be something else. Something else I have to deal with. So, and I guess part of me is kind of afraid that they're going to tell me that it's just going to keep getting worse. Like, for example, in the last, week and a half, my symptoms have actually, I have new symptoms. In fact, I have new symptoms from 4 days ago, or just in the last 4 days, that I had to call and let them know about today. So it's just, I'm concerned that, I'm concerned about how much it's progressing, or seems to be progressing. And so I'm kind of afraid that they're just going to tell me that it's just going to keep getting worse. And I know most of the time, Chiaris eventually get worse. They do. They do. Or at least that's what I've read. I know even after the decompression surgery, there are people who, were saying, I'm on my 3rd surgery now, because eventually it just, there are things you do in your everyday that can strain them and make them worse. Anything that's going to push your head backwards. Like, I can't ride roller coasters anymore, which is a crying shame because I love roller coasters. Even reaching for things, up above, I'm going to have to reconfigure my spice rack, because my spice rack is up high, and, it's just one of those things you're not really supposed to strain your neck or shoulders, pretty much. I read that you shouldn't lift anything heavier than a milk carton, which is unfortunate because I have a toddler. There are things that I have a toddler. I can't avoid picking her up. I can't just never pick her up again. So there are things that, I have no choice about doing that can potentially make it worse. So, it's like they were saying, there are people that I was, reading comments on in the Chiari forums that were saying, I'm on my 2nd or 3rd decompression surgery already, and, it's just, I don't know. And I know eventually, if it does go untreated, there is a small chance that you could end up paralyzed. So, I guess that's kind of a concern, I guess. Weirdly enough, I'm less concerned about being paralyzed for me, and more concerned about the effect that it would have on my family. Samantha and Jim, and, it's just, it's a big thing to have to think about, I guess. you know. So I'm a little worried about tomorrow. I don't know if any of you have seen it. I happened upon it more by accident than anything, but it's the, I guess it's a thing on Twitter. I'm not terribly familiar with Twitter. I don't social media very much. YouTube is pretty much the extent of my social media. It's, the hashtag hospital glam, tag, where basically when you're in the doctor's office or the hospital, you basically take glam shots of yourself. It's really cool. It's kind of a thing they're doing to, you know, basically put yourself back in the whole, you know, hospital process situation as a person, not as a patient or a number. You know, it's kind of like you're taking back a small piece of it for yourself, I guess, and, you know, reminding, you know, people and doctors and yourself even that you are a person, not a condition. And I think it's really cool. So who knows? I might get some hospital glam shots. I don't think of myself as a particularly glamorous person, but who knows? See. But, so if I do that, I'll be sure to show them to you guys. But yeah, so we'll see. Who knows, I might get some of those tomorrow. I didn't get any, footage from the park. I honestly, I wish I had a good excuse for it, but I just forgot my camera at home. So, I do my filming on a phone camera, but it is not my primary phone. So, I don't typically just think to grab it and carry it with me. I grab my primary phone, my actual cell phone. The phone that I use for videoing or videos has a far superior camera. I'm sure you could probably tell from the latest series of videos versus my very first couple. You can probably tell a difference just in the quality. I don't know, because I don't actually go back and watch my videos. I'm kind of weird about seeing myself on film. I just don't like it. So, like, I make these videos, but I don't actually go back and watch them. So, I'm just gonna have to take you guys' word for it, I guess. But, so, yeah, I just forgot it at home. I have no better excuse than just that. So, but tomorrow, I will try not to forget it. I'm pretty excited for my walker to get here on Thursday. So I will try to remember to do an unboxing video for that. We've talked about how bad my memory is, though, so I can make no promises. But I'm kind of excited about it because it really is getting pretty hard for me to get around on those days where I just lack any sort of energy at all. I barely have the energy to feed myself. It's, you know, on those bad days, it's pretty bad. So I'm excited for it. So I have, I guess, kind of a concern about using a wheelchair or a walker. And I haven't really talked to anyone much about it. I mean, I briefly mentioned it to Jim. And I'm sure, like, those of you who are maybe not in similar situations but have to use any sort of, you know, just daily living aid, you've probably had this same, I guess, kind of concern or worry. I guess I get kind of worried that whenever I'm having to use a mobility aid out in public, whether it be the walker or the wheelchair, I guess I'm afraid that, like, people might, like, the people that I usually go out with might be kind of embarrassed to be seen with me in public, because I know that, like, it'll make people stare more. But, like, I don't know, I guess that's something I kind of worry. Maybe it's silly, I don't know, like, you know, part of me is like, oh, well, you know, the people who really matter, they'll want to go be out in public with me no matter what, and, you know, but I also understand that there's something comforting about being in a crowd and just being someone in a crowd and not standing out at all and just being able to go on your way because nobody's really paying any attention to you. Like, you know, it's just, I know, honestly, I'm kind of used to people staring at me in public, for one thing or another. If it's not one thing, it's something else. I used to have to wear hearing aids. I haven't had to in a while, but I used to have to wear hearing aids, and it was pretty obvious. So, I'm of a religion where my traditional dresses, I don't typically, I like to wear my traditional dresses, but when my sensory processing disorder is particularly bad, I can't wear them because of the fabric. So, I mean, you guys have probably seen me in a couple of my earlier videos in my dresses, but I haven't been able to wear them much recently. But, my traditional dresses are very unique. They are pretty obvious that, you know, they're not regular clothes. So, I've just gotten used to, I've just gotten used to people being curious, I guess. It doesn't bother me. It used to a long time ago, but it just doesn't bother me anymore, you know, and I'm not bothered to use a wheelchair in public. I'm more bothered that it'll bother the people I'm with. So, I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I like to hope that it's not the case, but I like to hope that it'll never happen, but I also have to acknowledge the fact that it might. But hopefully not, and hopefully you don't have a similar situation happen to you, because of course that's awful, you know. So you never want to feel like you're a burden to the people you care about. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here because this video is, as usual, already way longer than I anticipated it being. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!